Welcome back. I'm Eric Snell from Vanilla Equity, and today we have Mastercard and Visa on the radar. Now, I want to focus on this specific credit card sector because I think this sector will do well even if we're going into a recession, which seems very likely now. You know, we've talked about Dollar Tree, McDonald's, but there are other things and other areas that I believe people just can't avoid and you have to spend money on. And especially when you run out of money, maybe you then start to use your credit cards even more. And I don't think inflation has a big impact. I think the credit card companies, they're well aware of currency risks, and I think they also adjust their interest, their pricing accordingly. So I think this is a pretty recession-proof sector. So I'm trying to look and find who's the market leader and how can we invest. And when we look globally, we have two good candidates, and it's Mastercard and Visa. Now, this credit card sector itself is quite interesting because when you look around the world, you actually have countries that have become almost cashless. And I don't mean broke, I mean that they just don't have paper currency in circulation, at least a very limited amount. And I actually had the opportunity to go to Sweden, where this was obvious. And it almost ruined a little bit the fun of going to a foreign country and you exchange the currency. There, no one wanted any paper currency. And actually on the train station, there was a street musician, and he didn't have a wrinkly coffee cup or a hat or anything to collect coins in. Instead, he just had a big sign, and it says Swisha and then his phone number. And for those that are not aware of anything else than crypto and currencies, Swish is actually a technology I believe they used already for a decade in Sweden, where you basically swipe on your phone money to someone in your near vicinity. And there, everything is sort of controlled. So if you're doing an electronic money movement, of course it's registered and all the details are everywhere. So there's a very low level of anonymity, and the government will know exactly what money is moving where. But also these credit companies. So all the credit companies actually have really good information about how you spend money and where and why. And this is probably more information than what people suspect that Google has or let's say the government has of you. These credit card companies actually also have this information, and it's going to increase. So maybe it's okay, maybe it's not. I don't really want to take sides on that, but I can tell you that when you look at the society, for instance in the Scandinavian countries, it's very much stripped out of any anonymity, and you can basically take any individual's name, and if you Google it, you can find the street address and who they live with and a picture of their house and what type of cars are registered in that person's name. So everything is very open, and free information is abundant. Now that's of course good for companies that want to market, but maybe not so good for people that want to have some privacy. And I think privacy is something that come into play as well when we talk about the use of credit cards. So now when you go to the store and you have the option, do you want to pay electronically or with cash? Of course there's a question, should that be priced the same way? Maybe I should have to pay more if I can pay in a way that I don't give away any details of myself, or maybe the merchant should be able to charge more if I use a credit card and they have to pay Visa or Mastercard for using their service. So we'll see how it goes, but maybe it's good to know that most of the small players in that sector anyway rely on the big companies. And from my understanding as well, the fees that they're charging are way higher in the States than, for instance, in Europe. Now, if we look at the companies themselves, we can compare a little bit their data, and we can actually see that they're almost the same size, but there is some differences. And I think the big difference is in cash flow, and I think cash flow is king. So in this case, I would definitely go with Visa. Now, should you buy it tonight? Maybe, maybe not. I wouldn't. It's definitely something we put on the radar, meaning that we will monitor the stock, and when it's on sale or there is a unreasonable drop in the price, a lot of the stock prices are moving based on the worldwide economy and not so much based on their performance. So when it dips, why not buy a bit of it? And I think next week we're going to have a look at some health companies, because that's another area where I believe you can't really save money regardless of a recession or not. Well, I hope you enjoyed this. I'm Eric Snell from Vanilla Equity, and I'll see you soon again.